So this is just a little bit of an explanation as to how you can get two women of exactly the same measurements who are completely different shapes. And that illustrates the reason why you need alterations, even if you haven't put on or lost weight. And I think that possibly answers the question for lots of the queries on that thread on your Facebook about people that are just confused about why they need alterations and they're not expecting it. So there you've got two pattern pieces. So these women are identical measurements. This pattern piece relates to that bit of the bodice. So it's a sort of side panel, if you like. But this person is a standard C cup, say, 5'6", average height, size 12. And this lady is actually 5'10", 5'11", and she's a G cup. Now, when you put them together, in actual fact, you'll see the busts are exactly the same. Do you want to check my cutting out and make sure yours are the same as well?
Yes, they are the same.
And the same with the waist. If you maybe get the waist so that they measure up, there's the waist at the bottom, they are pretty much exactly the same. But you can see the difference of the pattern. There is so much variation in it. That an awful lot of alteration would have to be made from the blue one, which is the standard size that you would buy the dress in, if you were a much taller person with bigger boobs. So I think there are different kinds of alterations. There are alterations because your weight does change, and then there's alterations because there's just a difference between the shape that the pattern is cut for that particular dress for a standard size 12, 14, 16, whatever, and your actual measurements. So there's nothing.
Bodies are different, aren't they?
They are.
So.
And virtually anything can be altered, and I think it's sort of a general consensus of opinion that it's much easier to take something in than it is to let it out. But I think it's very annoying when, for example, you might be a standard size, I don't know, 12 on the bust, 12 on the hip, but your hips might be a little bit bigger. So maybe if you took the measurements, your hips might actually fit into the size 16 category. So what the shop will want to do is order the size 16 and take the top in. But you might say to the shop, but I know I'm going to lose the weight. And you may lose the weight, which is great, but either way they can still take the dress in. But if you don't lose the weight, which unfortunately can happen, or life might change, or your priorities might change, or you just, whatever, it doesn't happen. If you were to come back to the shop and they did order the size 12, you wouldn't be able to get it over your bum. And the shop would then probably feel responsible for ordering the wrong size dress.
So what would you say if a bride came in and said, oh, I want to lose weight for my wedding, I'm a size 16 now, but I'm going to be a size 12 by the time my dress comes, so that's what I want to order. What would you say?
I would say to try and get the shop to specify the very, very, very possible latest date that you can be measured. So that will then dictate when they're going to order the dress and the size that it can be ordered in.
And you would order it in the size you are then and then take it in if need be?
Absolutely. So you will then have an alteration stage almost always where you would come back and try on the dress, and in that scenario you would have the waist and the hip taken in. So, sorry, the waist and the bust taken in. But I think in some situations you try on a sample, and it's more so with some dresses than others, where the fit just is appalling. And you're almost put off the style of the dress because the fit of the dress is so bad. And in that situation, if the shop says to you, yes, but it can be altered, it'll be absolutely fine, and it doesn't matter if you lose weight. If you're not sure about that, trust your own judgment, trust that voice, and say actually you want to come back when their fitter is there and talk to them about exactly how they would alter it for you. And that's perfectly reasonable.